us here. I just want to tell you a little bit about my Makiwara that I use for weapons practice. I've made a few of these over the past 40 years, and this one's my favorite one. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about it in case you decide to make one for yourself. First, what I like about it is it's portable. It doesn't weigh much, and carry it and move it around easy enough, and it stays outside most of the year where I prefer to use it. This slips right out. It's just a hole drilled in a piece of oak. You could use a 2x4, that would probably be sturdy enough. You could drill more than one hole if you want to change the height or angles of this piece here. I like using a shinai here because it has some flex to it. Now, just a 4x4 on the bottom and some 2x4s. And of course I could make the feet bigger, heavier. I could throw a sandbag on it, anything I wanted to make it a little more stable. I do knock it over sometimes, but it's not the end of the world. I prefer that it moves. I've made some that are really sturdy and indestructible. But something's got to give, and what was given was my weapons. You don't want to be breaking your weapons on your Makiwara. Now, I use a tire. That's a wheelbarrow-sized tire. I've made them using the men before, but this steel face really chews up weapons too, so you don't need one of these, and I don't recommend using one of those. The tire's great. You use a tire and you do it outside, drill a hole in the bottom so you don't get soaked like I did one day. Filled with rainwater, I came and gave it a good smack with my shinai and I got soaked. Drill a hole in the bottom. I like that the tire is movable because that also helps to absorb the impact. This is just a bunch of rags, old sweatshirts tied around the bottom. And the fact that it moves also allows me to move that attack to the side. And that's an advantage you don't have if you have one that's really stable and doesn't move. You could also make one from a 2x or a post and suspend it from a ceiling or a tree. And then you get a lot of movement, but you could put a rope on the bottom and tie it to some type of anchor so it's not flying like crazy. Or you could put two so they're pulling in opposite directions. So this thing is not going crazy. So sometimes having one that moves is really preferable to having one that just sits still. Bad guys move. If you're going to do this, I recommend, first of all, use good quality weapons. Don't use cheap toys like you see all over the place. Don't use a pencil bow, don't use cheap tonfa, don't use cheap anything, because they break. Now the reason I started building these things in the first place is because I get tired of breaking weapons. I used to go in the woods and I'd pick dead trees as targets, and I'd break tonfa, sai, nunchaku, everything. You know, even good quality weapons can only handle so much force. You're spending $100 for a bow, you don't want to be breaking them unnecessarily. I also prefer to use a rattan bow when I'm working with this, because the rattan absorbs also, and it's a lot cheaper than busting a nice Kobudo bow. So there you have it. It's my Makiwara. Find a lot of uses for it. Can use it for just about any weapon. I don't use kama on it. But other than that, everything's fair game. If you make one, have fun, practice safely.